a fund called as National Investment and Infrastructure Fund. It's a fund. It's a national fund for investing on infrastructure. Okay. Now try to understand that we require long term, we as a country require long term infrastructure financing. We require long term infrastructure financing. So this is I am telling you, see here credit rating plays a major role. Okay, if we are having, when we require long term infrastructure financing, the better credit rating will help to like raise loan or raise bond or issue bond at a lesser interest rate. Okay, so I am not going to that part, coming back. So we as a country require, see, and what is the problem with these infrastructure is that you will not get return immediately. The return is, you will get the return if you spend money on ports or roads or any important infrastructure. It requires huge financing, but return is from long term point of view. So very few people will be interested to make investment in relation to infrastructure funding. So, but we require a huge fund in relation to infrastructure funding. So to support this initiative, along with all other initiatives taken by the government have constituted a fund. So it was announced, this regarding this fund, it was announced way back in the budget, Union Budget 2015-16. This was announced in Union Budget 2015-16. And it was implemented this in December 2015. In December 2015, this fund is constituted. Okay. Now from your prelims point of view, what is the specialty of this fund is that, okay, it's basically, it's something like a sovereign fund. It's something, the sort of a, see there are fund like, whenever you hear the word sovereign wealth fund, be very clear. Sovereign, whenever you hear the word sovereign, government is involved. Yes or no? Sovereign means somewhere government, it's government money. You had seen that, okay, sovereign wealth fund set up by China, majority of the western countries like Qatar, where they have lot of sufficient forex reserves. What they thought, instead of investing in lesser return government securities of US, better they invest in some other area where they will get a better return. So similarly, it's not similar to that kind, but it is a fund mainly contributed by the union government. So this fund, the initial corpus of this fund is, what it says that initial corpus for this fund is, it's very important, 40,000 crore. Even though it is a fact, it's very important. 40,000 crore. Out of this, half will be contributed by the sender. 20,000 crore will be contributed. 20,000 crore will be contributed by the 20,000 will be contributed by the sender. Rest 20,000 has to be raised. 20,000 crore has to be raised mainly from other sovereign wealth fund from Qatar and other countries. So the rest, see, out of 40,000 crore, 20,000 the union government will contribute. The rest 20,000 it has to be raised from different sources. Like, see, try to understand that long-term funds are basically available with pension funds. See, pension funds are long-term funds because the return is after pension time, after pension period, I mean after retirement. Then insurance fund, they are long-term funds. Then sovereign wealth fund. So basically we are targeting these sectors, sovereign wealth fund, global pension funds, and this global insurance agencies to tap this 20,000 crore. Now with this fund, we will set up a trust or a trust for, where it's clearly said that it will not be a government controlled. Government will have only 49% stake in it. So this is a very important point. In the fund, National Investment and Infrastructure Fund, the government stake is 49%. So it said that it's not a government owned fund, but it's contributing a major chunk, and it will be run by a professional CEO, where it will advise the government how to raise fund, how to utilize the fund, which all area it has to invest. Now be very clear is that this fund will only support, it's a very important term, this fund will only support commercially viable projects. This fund will only invest to those type of, what type of projects? This fund will only support commercially viable projects. What does it mean by commercially viable projects? If you invest, you will get return for it. It will not be means it will be viable, it will be commercially viable, it can continue, it can pay back what it has been invested. So if it is not commercially viable, this fund will not be used for it. So this fund can be used for any stalled projects, any brownfield investment, any greenfield investment, and even for social infrastructure, anything that sort of. Okay, so this term is very important. One is regarding the government stake. So it's not a government controlled. Why? Government is having only a share of 49, even though it is contributing 20,000 crore, it is having a stake of only 49%. Second is that it will only fund commercially viable projects. Commercially unviable projects it will never fund. It will never fund. Okay, so government, now what happened recently, the government have signed a lot of memorandum of understanding, especially recently from Qatar and other countries. Their Qatar Sovereign Fund have committed to contribute to this National Infrastructure Investment and Infrastructure Fund. Similarly, the government, so by setting up this fund, it is showing that government interest, that we, along with India's fund, by bringing the foreign capital, especially from this untapped area of sovereign wealth fund, we can support this initiative. So these 2 points are very important regarding the 49% and commercially viable project. Third thing is that it is also a fund of funds. It is also called as fund of funds. It will cater to different sector. It will cater to different sectors like asset reconstruction. Try to understand that this fund can be used, different types of funds it can use. It can use for asset reconstruction. What is asset reconstruction? If there's any stressed assets are there, they can purchase it. Then it can invest in brownfield investment. So there is a separate fund for brownfield. It can, what is brownfield? Existing investment. There is an existing infrastructure is there. It want to upgrade it. Already existing airport. That is brownfield. Now what is greenfield investment? New project, new airport. So what is the difference between brownfield and greenfield? Brownfield is older infrastructure. Greenfield is new one. Then we support this social infrastructure. So there will be separate fund for to promoting especially commercially viable social infrastructure. And last being renewables, renewable energy. So there are countries and organizations who support green initiatives, and renewable energy is a green initiative. So especially when we require fund for solar energy, wind energy, these are all green renewable energy. So renewable energy, which is a green fund. So by using this fund, you see there are lot of green bonds are available. Green bonds are those bonds which support environmentally friendly projects. Since NIIF is also in news, from your NIIF point of view, I tell you 2 points are very important. That's try to understand for what purpose this fund has been provided. This fund not only raise fund, it will monitor the projects, and it will also advise. So it will also do a supervision in relation to stall projects. 2 important points is commercial viability, and the government stake is 49%, and the present corpus is 40,000 crore, and in future it will increase or it will expand, or government will try to increase it. So just we have an idea if the question comes on. So if a statement comes, NIIF is a government controlled one, that statement is wrong. Why? It is only having 49. So it's clearly mentioned that why the government is having a stake of 49%, because it want a professional agency to have control over it and manage this fund in a professional manner, because it is running with a commercial viable aspect. Okay, this point be very clear with it in relation to National Investment and Infrastructure Fund.